Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to a day of learning in the Google world. And we're thinking that we will probably have lots of support staff from across Alberta today. We are so excited to learn with you and talk about AI and some Google tools. Lots of fun and learning in store today. We always like to do a treaty acknowledgement at the beginning, and I would like to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from the treaty lands of Treaty 7 and Treaty 4. And just on the border, Michelle is joining us from Treaty 7. And Michelle, tell us about you.
Absolutely. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Michelle Armstrong, Director of Events here at Logix Academy, based in Calgary, which Cami mentioned, Treaty 7 territory, and kind of excited to get geeky with Google today. So thank you, Cami.
All right. And I am from Prairie Rose School Division. I also do some facilitating for Logix. I'm an instructional lead in Prairie Rose. And if you're wondering why Michelle and I are posing as Muppets today, we're going to explain the source of that and hopefully have some fun. So you can we'd love to know here where you're joining us from. What's your role in the district? Are you an EA? Are you a librarian? Are you office staff? That would be super helpful. Now, today, we have this deck available for you. So there's a link that just went into the chat. Now, speaking of that, you're watching us on YouTube. And there's a chat available in YouTube, and sometimes you have to click around to get that YouTube chat to populate, but we would love it if you joined in on the chat from your YouTube. Some of you might be joining in groups, so if there's a handful of you on one computer kind of watching, we'd love to know that. What district, what school are you from? That's awesome. If you'd like, you can, again, you've got access to these slides, and the QR code will be for those slides as well. We would like to say a big shout out to Google Canada today, who's providing funding so that we can offer this to everybody for free today. Sandy Curry is our Google Canada gal. She is the project manager of Gen AI for Educators, which we'll be talking about today. And so big thanks to Google for supporting us today. And at the end of today, this would be something that would be super helpful or useful for you, or really just even a nice artifact as you build up your professional learning. We'll put this link into the chat throughout the day. And what this gets you at the end is basically you can run a certificate that you'll get. It'll have your name and your date. It'll have the 1.5 hours of learning, and it will basically say that you've done some AI learning. And so that certainly can be a great tool for you to have. And when you fill out that form at the end, you'll put AI and learning tools for support stuff. We'll show you that again at the end. But just know that that's coming, and it's going to ask you what's one thing you learned today. Now, we are going to talk about lots of things that have to do with AI today. And we want to note that you should always check with your board or your school district for what is allowable and available. It's different in every board. What are your approved AI platforms? We are going to talk mostly towards teachers, I think, and teacher tools today, but there might be some things, we would suggest with students. Some boards have said yes to AI for students. Some have said, well, maybe, but under these circumstances. So whatever you do today, whatever you take away, know that you have to, at the end of the day, follow the rules of your school board and your school district. So make sure you check in with them. If you see something really neat and you want to use it with your students or your staff, make sure you check in. Now, we're going to be using Gemini for lots of our learning today. Gemini is Google's version of ChatGPT. And we'd love to know in the chat, have you used AI before? Are you AI experts? Are you new to AI? Normally what happens is people have used ChatGPT, some or a lot. We'd love to know in the chat, have you used it a lot, a little? What does that look like when you use Gemini in your school domain? There are extra privacy and security features. Gemini, Google does not use your data to train on. No human views your data, and your data is extra private and secure. And so we would suggest that you move to Gemini for everything that you do in AI because it's just a much safer platform. ChatGPT is built for, it's a consumer product. In fact, you are the product. It's free because they're using your data. And so we hope that after today, when you see lots of the things that Gemini, Google's tool, can do, you might be interested in moving over there. So we're coming to you from Logix Academy today. There's lots of information available on our logixacademy.com website. You can follow us on socials. And we do lots of training. We are a Google partner, a Microsoft partner, Minecraft partner, Apple partner. So if your district or your PD team needs PD, that's what we do. We offer excellent PD virtual, and we really like in-person PD. And we have a big Alberta team. So that's always fun to get together in person. If you go to the logixacademy.com website and you click live events, you will see all sorts of upcoming events. In November, we have 2 big Saturday morning AI summits that are coming up. So probably about 3 hours each, hey, Michelle? One's a Google focus, one's an AI focus. And then we get into the Hour of Code, which is coming up at the beginning of December, except this year, it's called the Hour of AI. And so kind of some big weeks coming up in the next couple months for programming, with all sorts of ways for you and students to learn about technology. So with that, Michelle, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can outline today's plan for our session on Googly tools and AI.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cami. All of those watching right now, we are going to make you work. So we would definitely like you. Let us know in the chat, where are you joining us from, and what is your role in the division? It makes it a whole lot easier for us to cater this workshop to you if we kind of know you're out there and kind of know what you do. So don't be shy. Let us know where you're joining us from and what your role in the school is. But yes, today we are going to take a look at a Gen AI for Educators course. We know a lot of you out there, you might be education assistants. Maybe you work in the finance department. Who knows? Do we have bus drivers out there? I'm not sure exactly who's tuned in today. But this course, even though it says for educators, it's a course designed to just get the foundational knowledge of AI. And so we're going to take a peek at that. We're going to use some of the tips from that course to do a whole lot of prompting. And then we're going to get even geekier. We're going to look at some other Gemini features, Notebook LM, Google Vids, and who knows what else might happen. We're just going to have a lot of fun. That's what we're going to do. Hello, Jessica from Northern Lights. Thank you for letting us know you are an EA. Appreciate it. All right. Now, this might just be me and Jessica talking, but hopefully there are others out there who will play along with me. This is where we need you to put into the chat a number between 1 and 5 on your comfort level with AI. And if you want to kind of assess your comfort level, here's a list for you. If you're a 1, it's like, you're kind of freaked out by AI. You're not exactly sure what's going on, a little bit worried. 2, you're getting a little more comfortable, but maybe use it just for personal use. 3, you're getting more comfortable, etc., etc. So take a look at that list. Let us know in the chat. Are you a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And hello, Strathmore is here, EA at the Colony School. Welcome, welcome. Camicanikins, if you were to say a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, how might you rate your comfort level with AI?
I would say I'm like I spend a lot of time here. I'm probably a 4 or 5. And I noticed just that one of our Strathmore friends works as an EA at a colony school. And we've got lots of colonies in my district, and lots of colonies don't use any technology in the colony. But my colony schools, my teachers are loving some of the things that they can do with AI, especially around multi-graded, because you've got those huge multi-graded classrooms about making differentiated materials. So colony folks, if you're with us today, don't tune out, because this is about technology, because this is could be a game changer for lots of you. I see we've got some 2s and 3s in the chat.
Perfect.
Michelle?
Okay, well, we're going to assume we probably, because right now we've got at least 25 of you watching. So if you do feel comfortable adding into the chat, awesome. If you want to kind of just remain behind the scenes, that's okay too. Me and Cami will chat it up enough to get that engagement going, hopefully. All right. We're going to take a look at a course. It's Gen AI for Educators. So this is a course, this was one of the very first courses that came out for AI in education. And the cool thing about it, even though it's a Grow with Google product, it's tool agnostic. The goal is to say, hey, use ChatGPT, use Copilot, use Gemini, but here's the basics, regardless of what tool you're using. Now, I thought I had another slide. Oh, that's okay. We'll talk about kind of which tool to use, when, and why in just a second. But let's just take a quick look at this course. So if you want to jump into the course, there's a QR code right there. There is a sign up. You do need a Google account. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of what you can expect when you get in there. And then we'll show this link at the end as well. So once you kind of see what the course is all about, then you might choose to dive in and sign up. Let me just see. Yeah, we said you need a Google account. Oh, this is what I love about the course. And then I'm going to jump over and screen share to show you the course. The course is set up with 3 kind of main ideas. There's a learning section. It's going to teach you things. You're going to read, you're going to learn. Then it actually gives you prompts and it says, now go take these prompts, try them in your AI engine of choice. And then it makes you stop, rethink, think critically, reprompt. So just the basis of how that course is set up, I love it because it goes through those 3 things. That's kind of how we're going to run this workshop today. So be ready for that. Do I have anything else? Oh yes, you can get a fancy certificate from this course as well. But Cami, do you want to go over? Let me go to my Gen AI for Educators. Can you go ahead and just share my screen that has my Gen AI for Educators page on it? Perfect. Wonderful. Let me make that a little easier maybe for you all to see. Go ahead and get started. I believe I'm already logged in. We shall soon see. I'm not logged in. When we do log in, it asks us for our Google account. I have a few of them. I'll go ahead and use this one. And then the course, right out of the gate, you can get a bird's eye view of everything you're going to see in the course. So there's a pre-survey, there's an introduction. And the cool thing, as you're doing each of the sections, it keeps track of what you've done. So you'll see, I didn't do the second part of this. That's okay. But here we are, like, how do we write an effective prompt? How do we refine prompts? How do we write original prompts? Then it goes into how do we use these prompts in our practice in education? Then it goes into the responsible use of AI tools. And then here's sort of more resources, next steps to take your learning even further. And then this end of course assessment, that's where you can get your certificate and away you go. I'm going to pop in very quickly. Let's just take a quick look at what each of these units looks like. Like I said, it gives us our learning, gives us some information, more information. Now here's the try portion. This gave me this huge prompt that I can fill in the blanks, and then I can go check how that prompt is going to work for me. And it gives you even more. That's a little shorter one, and even more, and even more, and even more, and even more. So the idea of this course, lots of learning. It's self-paced. You don't have to do it all at once. You can come back, pick up where you left off. I think it's great learning. Cami, I know you've taken the course. Any comments or feedback on that course?
I've done the course a couple times. What I like about it is you don't in those, when Michelle's going through all those little screens with the dots there, it gives you ideas of prompts. So you don't have to even think too hard. It gives you an idea, and then you say, oh, that's like when I do this. And so you can copy and paste that prompt into Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever you're using, and then you can fill in your information. Maybe you're an EA with fourth grade, or maybe you're a secretary, so you find an admin assistant, you find the right piece for you, and you go ahead and then you just learn that way. And the thing I like is, like Michelle said, it just picks up where you've left off. Because I mean, let's be honest, who has 2 hours to sit down start to finish and do a course? I think I did mine in 10-minute sections, right? You do a couple minutes and then you get pulled away, and eventually I've gotten through it a couple times. But that is nice, it remembers where you're at, and it's just a really good way to get confidence in using AI in a safe and effective way. Sometimes, Michelle, I think that as educators or people that work in schools, we say, oh, well, I use ChatGPT to make a recipe, or I've been using ChatGPT, or my kids use ChatGPT, but we don't necessarily always know the full safety and smart school kind of thinking about using AI. And so that's what this course really does. It teaches us how, but also how to be safe and smart about using AI.
Wonderful. Now, Cami, I'm not sure if you can hear me or if I have frozen. Can you let
It looks like Michelle is gone. And so we will just carry on here, and I'm going to share my screen so that we can kind of carry on. Let's see here. We're just going to pull this right back up. Oh, give a little refresh. Actually, let's have maybe someone in the back of the house can see if they can. No, I'm just going to do this. I'll do this instead. So I'm going to just pop over here. Oh, looks like Michelle's coming back. Okay.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Well, you're back. I was just about to pick up where you were leaving off, but we'll let you do it.
That would have been fun to see you just try to juggle what's in my head. Let me just get my other computer set up. I will tell you, I've been working on this internet issue for 2 months, and my internet provider still says there's nothing wrong. A tech is coming out this weekend. Okay, we're back. Apologies for that. We are going to just go over to the screen share to get our slide deck.
When I went to pick up your slide deck, Michelle, I wasn't finding that in there. So I'm glad you've got it right there.
Because both of my computers died. So here we are. We're back. All right. Technical issues happen. So this is just what we do. We just roll with them. That was the course. And now we're going to talk just about prompt engineering. So inside that course, like I mentioned, most of it is about honing our skill in prompting. And I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about like which tools should we use. So the course doesn't recommend any tool at all. And here today, we're going to be using Gemini, but some of you may also be using Copilot. Some of you may also be using ChatGPT. There are others. There's Claude. There's, gosh, I forget all of them out there. But the two main ones for us in education for sure are Gemini and Copilot. ChatGPT is probably the tool most people are using, yet, dare I say, it's the worst tool to be using, especially in education. Now, I'll tell you why. With your school board's account, whether you've got a Google account or a Microsoft account, the Gemini and the Copilot within your school board accounts, if it's set up by your district the way it should be, are almost like a walled garden. So when I'm using Gemini for education inside my education account, all of the information I'm putting into that stays within my division, stays within my district, doesn't go out to the ether to teach that model, to train that AI model. Same thing with Copilot. That being said, if you're using ChatGPT, no matter what account you're using, is a public-facing AI tool, and you're training it, and the information you're putting into it is going out into the AI ether. Anything else on that, Cami?
No, I think that's important. I mentioned that before. You mentioned again. That's how important it is, right? That we're, if you are using ChatGPT, even for schoolwork or brainstorming lessons or ideas for your students at home, switch to Gemini. It's safer, and it is really quite equivalent to ChatGPT. When Michelle gets in there, you'll see that it actually feels and looks quite like ChatGPT.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so back to talking about the course. The course really teaches us proper prompting, and it uses an acronym called PARTS, PARTS, to remind us all of the things we need to include when we're creating a prompt. So if you just kind of put something quick into AI, chances are you're not really going to get the response you're hoping for. And a lot of people are like, AI is stupid. But the more refined we get in our prompting, the better our output is going to be. So parts is, we need to, first of all, what is the persona? Like, who are you? So I am an educational technologist. Aim, what do you want AI to do for you? So what's your aim? Who are the recipients? So who is it for? What kind of a theme do you want? What kind of a style do you want it to be fun and light or serious? And then the structure. What do you want it to look like? I want it to look like a bulleted point list. I want a spreadsheet. I want, so that's what your structure is. So parts, PARTS. And to give you the example that we used earlier to assess your comfort level with AI, of course, I used AI to generate it, but I just want to show you what parts looks like in that same prompt that gave us that list. So what's my persona? I'm an educational technologist. What's my aim? Looking for a list of questions that will help teachers assess their comfort level. Oh, and teachers are my recipients, so underline green. On a scale of 1 to 5, can you provide a bulleted list? So that's the structure. So your parts doesn't have to go in order. And then I want those to be I statements to describe someone. So hopefully that just helps trigger, oh yeah, I got to think about all of these things when I'm prompting. And we're going to show you some prompts that do exactly that. And then hopefully we're going to get some good outputs. Regardless of how thorough you prompt, you have to stop and think critically. You cannot, as Cami likes to say, prompting and pasting is pathetic, or we could say prompting and pasting is a problem. No matter what, whenever you have any output from AI, read it very carefully. You might find it's going to even take you a fair bit of time to reprompt, to change things up, to switch things around. AI rarely comes out with exactly what you're looking for right out of the gate. Cami, any thoughts on that before we dive into some prompting?
Well, I can't say enough how important that is. I don't know if you're going to talk about an 80-20 rule, but sometimes you might have heard that. We can let AI do 80% of the work, right? Like when you put your prompt in and you press go, it goes, it's like magic. But as humans, we must check it out. It might have factual errors. It might have biases. It might be incorrect. It might just not be right. It might have like insert name here. And when you send an email to somebody and it says insert name here, you are going to lose their respect. Or if you put report card comments out and it says student name here, that will be a problem.
That will be a problem.
We've maybe seen those things before. We want to make sure that we are always, whatever we create with AI, that we know that we're responsible for that output ultimately. So we have to use our human brains to go through it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Back to the course again. The course is set up with 6 different themes and all sorts of prompt ideas that fit into these themes. Lesson plans, class communication, relevant fun material, an assessment assistant, reading level evaluation, and insightful summaries. We don't have time to go through all 6 of these today, but in my slide deck, which maybe Cami, if you want to post the link to my slide deck again, in case anyone wants to follow along, in my slide deck, I have given you hundreds of additional prompting ideas that we won't be able to demo live, but that you can take and test a little later. So thing 1, we're actually not going to go into any lesson plans and activities just because given some of you are likely, not educators, but I just want you to know inside the slide deck, the way I've structured it, I've given you a sample prompt. The sample prompts should hopefully have parts in mind with those prompts. But then I've also given you additional prompt ideas. So let me just see if I can click on that link. I probably cannot from here. We don't need to demo it. You guys are all smart folks out there. But if you're inside the slide deck, I give you sample prompts and then I give you additional ideas. It's a Google Doc that it jumps you over to. So tons and tons of ideas for you there. The ones we are going to look at closely together, we're not even going to look at class communication, but we are going to look at relevant and fun materials because that's where AI shines in my mind, especially for us in education. So the first prompt we're going to look at, I said, generate a 6-panel comic strip for a bus driver to show students how to behave on the bus. Each panel should have simple illustrations and a speech bubble or caption showing a character's thoughts. The tone should be positive and encouraging. Now I'm just going to show you what my results were, and then we're going to jump into Gemini, and I'm going to live demo just some more prompts inside Gemini. But let's just see what the output was first. Wow, that looks pretty great. Yay AI. I don't know, Cami, maybe let's go full screen on this just so people can look a little closer. If you look closer at this, you will notice there's kind of a whole lot of gibberish. Let's just see what it says. Yes, I don't, in any case, look closely. There's a whole lot wrong with this comic. So unless I put them in the wrong order, it's kind of hard to see. So I asked it to regenerate it again. Now it's still kind of messed up. So I then said, okay, fine, just give me a comic without any words in the speech bubbles and I'll fill it in myself. But this is a good example of how AI at first glance kind of looks awesome. But as we dive closer, it still is going to need a little bit of work. Cami, maybe what I'll do, I'm going to jump us over to Gemini. So those of you out there watching, this is now audience participation time. We're all going to jump into Gemini. And I'm going to give a quick tour of Gemini, and then we're going to look at the next prompt together. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share, let's do, go and Google Gemini.
I'm not sure which. Oh, okay.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah.
We got it. So I'm in Gemini, and maybe Cami, if you want to put the link in the chat, it's just gemini.google.com. But if everybody, oh, yay. Hello, DVSS support staff, all 7 of you. Jump into a new tab. Go to gemini.google.com, and I just want to make sure to give everyone a bit of the lay of the land, and then we'll dive into some more prompting. So if you get into Gemini and it looks like this, it just means your sidebar menu isn't open. So if I go to the left-hand side, open up that sidebar menu, there's my menu. Now, if this is the first time you've used Gemini, you won't have these conversations that I've already had with Gemini pinned. I've got some of them pinned. I'll show you that as well. But don't fear. If you don't have all the things on the left-hand side that I do, just means you haven't used Gemini as much as I have.
Michelle, I'd also like to just jump in and point something else. Michelle is working today in a Gemini Pro account. Ooh. And the vast majority of us will not have a Gemini Pro account. So there will be a few things that look a little bit different. For example, one of the things that I'm noticing is the gray buttons at the bottom underneath where those ones. Those aren't available in just the regular Gemini, but most of those are available under the little tools pull down. So Michelle's will look a little different. So if yours doesn't look like Michelle's, probably it won't. She'll try to let you know when it's a paid feature that you probably don't have and when it's something that you will have full access to. So
thank you for pointing that out, Cami. And I will not be showing any of the paid features of Gemini in this prompting bit. We are going to tippy toe into videos a little bit later, which will be a paid feature, and I'll call that out. But all of the prompting that I'm doing in Gemini, you all should be able to do the exact same things on your side as well. So Cami, thanks for pointing that out. Fabulous. We are going to go ahead and to have our first prompt. Gemini is great, and it puts your prompt box right there for you. So enter a prompt for Gemini. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on some of the more advanced features of Gemini. For example, Canvas. Cami, do you use Canvas much?
Yes, actually quite a bit. And one of the things I use Canvas for, so Canvas does lots of things. One of the things it does is it writes code. And so I have been using it to make flashcards or to make drag and drop interactive materials. So I think about using that with our students who need lots of extra practice. Canvas is pretty great for making I click, the kids click, they can do a matching. And then you put that into a Google site or somewhere to host it. But I've been using Canvas to make lots of kind of learning support materials. So
okay, so everything that Cami just said, we're going to take a look at, and I think maybe these gems that we're now starting to see, I think gems might be taking the place of Canvas. So hold that thought. We'll get into that in a little bit. But let's just talk just straight up prompting right now. So we had the bus driver prompt, but the next prompt that I gave as well, no, you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to just put the exact comic book prompt just so we see basically how simple really it is. We put that prompt in there. I just copied and pasted, and then you say go. And it takes a little minute, especially when we're looking at graphics. It takes a little bit more time. Again, because I have Pro, mine's a little bit faster, but I also use the free version in my personal account, and I don't notice a whole lot of difference. So what was cool about this, not only did it create my cartoon graphic, it gave me, panel 1, here's what I'm going to do. These are the words I'm going to put in the speech bubble, which it didn't end up doing. But you'll notice, hey, it actually didn't give me my comic. And typically it actually asks me, do you want me to give an example of this? And it didn't actually ask me that. So I'll say, provide an image for this comic. So sometimes when you're using AI, it does different things than other times you're using AI. That's just something we have to get used to. What I'm going to do as this is generating, look at that. There it is. Good morning, everyone. Let's have a good ride today. This doesn't look too terrible, but if you'll notice here, if I zoom in, clean, fun, and it's spelled happy, H-A-P-Y. So just little errors in images there. What I'm going to do, oh goodness me, I'm going to zoom out because that makes it look funny. What I have on my Gemini, because I did all of these prompts previously, I've been able to pin my prompts that I want to save. So in this case, if you have a prompt, so here's the one that I was just doing right now, bus safety comic strip. If I click those 3 dots, I can pin that, I can rename that. And so I want to go back to the bus safety comic that I did earlier, bus safety comic. And so the image created doesn't have those speech bubbles and thoughts. Please generate a new image that is carefully including the text that you provided. And then Gemini, oh yeah, you're right. My apologies. Let me try again. And then it still got it wrong. And then we're still not quite there. Generate the comic strip with no text inside the speech bubbles. Okay, and then it did no speech bubbles. and then, okay, no, let's do this again. So just know it doesn't always work on the first time. In fact, it most often doesn't work on the first time. Cami, any thoughts or comments on that?
Actually, one of the things that's brand new with Gemini is if you click on the little tools button there in your prompt box, there's a tool down there.
Oh, yes. Tools.
If you click on the tools button, there's a tool called create images, and that's using their nano banano technology. And if you're creating images through there, actually, Michelle, I don't know if you've used this yet, but it doesn't, typically what's happened with AI generation to this point, it makes a brand new image every time. So your first image might be close and just have a little bit wrong, and then you wanted to fix that, and then it gives you something else, and it's a disaster. If you're using this image, if you have this turned on, see how it's blue at the bottom, that means that that image feature's turned on. It will actually keep your original image, and you can say specifically in the third box, you spelled happy wrong. Can you fix that? Whoa. And so that is really a big leap forward in AI generated images, because instead of generating every time and it's like, that's better, but that's worse. If you use that create images feature, you can pinpoint the changes that you want.
Okay. Fix it, please.
Okay, now everyone cross your fingers.
We'll see. I didn't know that, Cami. I'd seen
it's very new.
Yeah, and I never tried it. So that's awesome information. So glad you're here to be able to help us with that. Oh, absolutely. My apologies. Nope. Still spelt wrong. That's okay. We'll fight with it. But
that's what we need you to see, is that
exactly.
It looked like at first glance, wow, right? But you have to go through with the fine tooth comb and look for things that just are wrong. I don't know, is there a kid there that has 3 arms? Like, they might not even I didn't even look at the images very closely, right? So do the people look right? AI is getting better at spelling in words. It used to be a big disaster. Now it's actually pretty close to the point that it mostly looks okay, which is actually maybe even harder for us to identify when there are mistakes. But absolutely, we got to 80-20 it. Make sure we're looking at it.
Yes. Excellent. All right, if you're following along in the slide deck, we don't need to go back to it, Cami, but if you're following along, so that was my first prompt under fun and relevant and fun materials. The next one I have is on slide 42, and I'm a grade 4 teacher with a class of 22 students. Our room contains rectangular desks with chairs that are detached. Please design an image of a simple classroom layout that promotes collaboration and movement. So this was a prompt that one of our teams suggested for a different presentation, but I just want to take you through what that prompt gave us and help you think about how this might help you. Oops, that was a different one. So there's the prompt. Here's kind of the things in my classroom. Can you give me an example of how I can arrange it so it's better? And I was really quite surprised how cool that looked. And I was also very impressed. So then I prompted it to say, can you explain why this setup is for collaboration and movement? And it went in and it explained its thinking. Here's why the desks are in small clusters. There's central access. There's a reading corner. But I was super impressed just thinking about any spaces that we're in, asking AI, how might I redesign this space? We can either explain the space. I've never actually, I have put in a picture and said, how could I redesign this? But it was just for the color of my carpet in my hallway. It did a not bad job. But that, just giving that as an example of a prompt for some relevant ideas. And then, of course, the next prompt we have is create a Sesame Street realistic looking puppet from the attached design. And so this is Cami. That was my prompt. I'm not using parts actually, but, and this is what Gemini came up with. So pretty cute. Cami, I know I've also done, or I've heard people saying they create Roblox characters. They create Minecraft avatars. What are some other kind of fun kind of the profile picture designs that we might ask AI for?
You could do a superhero.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talked about Minecraft. I've done some Barbie and create the box that Barbie goes in with her accessories. So you
Oh,
could outline
yes.
what those might be. Um, any kind of character. Oh, look at, I only have one earring in. I wonder if do I have two earrings in the
Oh,
original picture?
I didn't even know. No, look at it's
No, it's
covered.
kind of hidden by my hair. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyways, I just noticed that. So it yeah. So anyways, oh, it even had the background the same.
I know. Yeah.
So now I would also say that sometimes people are hesitant to put their own likeness and their own image into an AI generator.
Good
And
point.
so you do need to be cognizant of that. Not everybody wants their images into AI. So before you have too much fun generating for other people, make sure you have their permission.
Yes, that's a good point. And I did ask Cami. Oh, you know what? I created it before I asked you. I asked you, can
Well,
I
I
use this
think she
puppet?
knows that she's probably seen me do that in the past.
But that is a very good point. All right. Well, what I would like to do, let's just see how we're doing for time. Time is flying. What I want, if you want to pause this and you want to try some things out, I highly encourage you to try some of these things. But I think in the interest of all the things we want to show you, we're not going to stop the feed, but definitely take a chance to try. And then again, Cami put in the link, but all of the prompt ideas are linked on that slide. There's lots in there for sure. Okay, the next part I want to go to, let's just see. We're not going to go into assessments as well, but just know there are prompts there for assessments. Reading level evaluation, though, we are definitely going to spend some time on. I think EAs, you guys are the ones that are helping differentiate the learning for these students, helping support these students, and to start thinking about how AI might just help us differentiate our assignments, support our students with their learning needs. AI is awesome for that. So what I'm going to do here, so this prompt, using the attached grade 5 class profile. So what I have here, and I'm going to pull that up onto another screen. So this is a Google Doc. This is a Google Doc that is made up of, these are fictitious students, but even if they were real students, you'll notice I did not include any student information. No matter what tool you're using, even if it's within your own district, I highly, highly, highly recommend not putting in any student identifying information. Cami, is that sort of the narrative that you provide as well about student information?
Yes, and this is a really interesting one because while we do know that using Gemini and Copilot inside of our school domain are much safer, the general practice, the general smart money, the general safest practice is to not give student information, right? So whether that's names, email addresses, so you see here we've got our students anonymized, student 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, the rule of thumb would be put in as little specific identifying information about a student as necessary to do the thing that you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And so you'll notice, so this is my class list. And I've got the strengths, strong verbal communication, stretches, they need some support staying organized. What are their interests? Maybe if they have any diagnoses, we can put that in there as well. If we have this class profile, just think of all of the opportunities we can use AI to then specifically cater our assignments, our recommendations for our students. So what I did, like I mentioned, so it says using the attached grade 5 profile, can you suggest appropriate fiction books for each student? Note, if the student has a reading challenge, select a book at a lower reading level. Similarly, if they appear to have a high reading indications, suggest a book in a higher reading level. So I'm going to take this over to Gemini. Oops, I wasn't sharing. I was just reading that out, but I'm going to just copy and paste this Over in Gemini, I'm going to start a new chat. So now we're going to share this tab. I'm going to start a brand new chat. I'm going to paste my prompt in here. So here's my prompt, but it says using the attached grade 5 class profile. This is where I click the plus button, and I can either upload a file from my computer, or in this case, I can add a file right from my Google Drive, and that Google Doc that you just saw, there it is because it's in my recents. There's my class profile. We insert that, and then we go ahead and we ask it to suggest a book based on our student profile. I already have this cooked up like any good cooking show. Here's my book recommendations that came up. Not only did it pull out, okay, what are their interests? It recommended a book, and it told me why it recommended the book. Now, it's probably not the case that we're going to automatically say, oh, this is amazing. Okay, kids, do this. But to be able to just think of the power of the kinds of things we can now do for our students, maybe what you might do is you have 5 books. Okay, of these 5 books, which ones would you suggest for each student based on their learning profile? Any thoughts or comments on that, Cami, or other ways we might use a learning profile doc?
Well, I was looking, those are definitely lots of novels that we would see in school, The Wild Robot. So there's certainly books that we would recognize. What I like to take away from what you've just done is you've added your own information, right? So this was a profile about students. If typically when AI works, it goes out into the world of all the material that it's combed off the whole internet together. And when it gives us an output, it's just using that vast internet knowledge. But we can use it more specifically if we're saying, okay, here is the course outline for my course, or this is our school handbook, or this is our list of school policies. And if you put those in, then it's going to use that tool. Gemini still will pull from the rest of the world, but Michelle might show us a tool later on which only looks at our images or our documents.
Spoiler alert, we're going to look at it. All right. Okay, so that hopefully has inspired you to think about using a class profile doc in any of your prompting. That brings us over to insightful summaries. This is probably where I use AI a lot, is when I have large, vast amounts of information that I just want to have a summary. I'll go in and I'll be using AI, but yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of ways to think even a little bit differently about what kinds of things we can summarize. Our first prompt is using the attached calendar. So this is the CBE year calendar. It's a PDF. It's got a whole bunch of colors, a whole bunch of text, little boxes to try to line each thing up. So my prompt, using the attached calendar, provide a summary of the special days based on the legend found on the left. And my follow-up prompt, create a CSV file so that I can now take all of that information and upload it to my Google Calendar. So I'm going to zip over and just show you. I did this prompt earlier. Share this tab instead. Bus safety, no, calendar special days. So I'll show you the whole train of thought. Let's go up here. Come on. There it is. So using the attached calendar. So this is where I went to the plus. I uploaded a PDF that I had saved on my computer. So using that PDF, tell me the special days based on the legend found to the left. So based on that, it gave me this list. There's the non-instructional days. There's Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and so on. Be careful to go through it to make sure it's actually accurate. But then,
now, Michelle, I noticed all those little paper clips or those little links. Tell
Yes.
us about that.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting example only because what those links are is it's telling me here's where you can go to verify that my information is correct. In this case, because I gave it the PDF, the resource it's telling me to go look at is that PDF that I gave it. So it's telling me I found this on that PDF. Some other searches that you'll do, though, it will point you to external websites. It's going to tell you where it found that info. So yeah, awesome point, Cami, pointing that out. So thank you. And it's on page 1 and page 2 and page 1. So I'm not sure why it links it 3 times. But then this was the part, I just tested this to see if it would work because I thought it would be awesome. I said, can you provide an ICS file so I can import it into my Google Calendar? So AI, like it does, it's like, oh yeah, of course, here you go. Here's the ICS file. All you got to do is save it as plain text with the extension ICS and it'll work. Well, I'll tell you, it did not work. It threw an error when I tried to import it into my calendar. But what I did then, I realized, oh, I could import a CSV file. Hey, give me a CSV file. And so there it gave me that CSV file. I saved this as a text file with the last 3 letters as .csv, uploaded it to my Google Calendar. Ta-da! All of those events are now in my calendar. So I thought that was pretty cool. Any thoughts on that, Cami?
Well, now I want to see your Google Calendar. But
oh, you don't believe me?
No, that's just, it seems like when I think about all the times that I go through and click, next, click, like, I mean, is everyone else thinking the same thing? Like that just saved me how much time? Because you probably have 20 dates there. To put 20 dates with information into your calendar takes a long time. So
okay, so I had to just close all my other calendars because I have way too many. So I've just got CBE. And
why don't you go to a month view?
Okay, week view, month view.
There, we'll see them.
There's non-instructional, National Day, Thanksgiving, fall break, last day of classes, fall break.
Wow.
Cool, eh? Okay, next one. What else did I have here? The next prompt I did, and this is where when we've got large documents, typically PDFs, AI really is so helpful. In this case, I grabbed the education plan for Calgary Board of Education. So the whole PDF of the education plan. I said, can you provide a concise summary of the attached education plan and also provide key points that affect me most as an educational assistant within the board? And so I'll just jump over and show what that looked like. Collaborative book, reading. Oh no. Did I not pin it or is it not there? Well, why am I not seeing it? That is okay. There it is. Right at the top. So I added the PDF, provide a summary. And so here it is. So here's your concise summary. It's about learning excellence, well-being, truth and reconciliation. And then, hey, you, EA, here's the things that maybe you want to focus on or you want to zoom in on. So that's a really great way of summarizing a big document like that. Other thoughts on that, Cami?
Well, summaries is certainly a real tool. And if you think about the vast amounts of information that we have in our office environments, those are great uses of AI, is to summarize. So, because the other thing that AI does is it'll often see patterns that we as humans don't pick out. And so that's a real powerful part, is that sometimes there's things that we miss. We're thinking this way and we don't see this part over here. So that's a real interesting area, is where AI will see patterns or different pieces that we just overlooked, maybe out of habit or just because we're not used to looking under that rock or whatever that looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. And talk about the time saving aspect of things too. So even from personal use, so I have our like covenants, the condo board documents that I can now just search and say, hey, how many pets am I allowed to have? And it's able to pull it out, tell me, what page it's on. So those kinds of things I use for my personal self as well. All right. Well, let's do back to here. That's sort of just the overview of the kinds of things you find in the course. Really, it's just about prompt engineering. But Cami, can you throw in that link again to the course? If you want to check it out, certainly we appreciate that. And that certificate. If you decide, okay, enough, these gals have been talking way too long and you're going to leave us a little bit early, just make sure you do fill out that certificate. We've got more for you in store, but just want to highlight, okay, that was kind of the course portion of our workshop. And now we're going to dive into a few other Google tools, mostly for just extra fun. With that, okay. We talked a little bit earlier just about gems and canvas. I feel like so that we don't confuse things, let's just talk gems and know that gems are now basically built-in functions or built-in apps almost inside Gemini that let you do super cool stuff, like flashcards Cami mentioned earlier. So we're going to just even jump back over to Gemini. Share this tab instead. If I go to, there we go. If I scroll the left-hand side, you should all see Explore Gems. If you don't, let me know in the chat that you don't see them. Actually, I've sort of been doing a lot of talking, me and Cami. If you do have any questions or any comments about anything you've seen so far, please let us know in the chat, especially if it's questions. If I've gone too fast over something, make sure you let us know in the chat. Okay, gems. When we go into Explore Gems, we see it's got some ideas for us. Oh, you can have a built-in learning coach. We can have a storybook. We can make Gemini your companion when watching the Women's Cricket World Cup. Who knew? I didn't know that was a thing. A brainstormer. I'm just going to show some more. A career guide, your coding partner. So that's Cami mentioned earlier. Copy creator, wellness, sentiment analyzer. Oh, I was certain. I thought there was flashcards in here, but maybe I'm wrong. In any case, the one that I want to show us today is the storybook. And then Cami, if you have any favorite gems or you want to give us a sneak peek at some of the Canvas stuff you do, we'll save some time for you to do that. So storybook, we can now type in any prompt and it's going to create a storybook for us. I'm just going to go back to the one I created just so that we're not taking up too much time. So I wrote a story about Leo's first game. He was going to the World Series with his dad. It was game 7. It was the Blue Jays versus the Dodgers. And lo and behold, the Blue Jays won the World Series in 2025. Hopefully we're foreshadowing. But let me zip back to the prompt. Oh no, how do I see my prompt? I think I just closed this. Perfect. So there's my prompt. It's a story about a young boy, game 7. They recovered, they won. So I gave at least a little bit of information about this story, but then Gems creates this really beautiful interactive storybook that when I click on that, it opens the book. We can read the book. We can even listen to the book. And this is a beautiful story about the Blue Jays winning the World Series. So that's really the only gem I've played a lot with, Cami. What are some other gems that you've worked with?
Well, the premise of a gem, Michelle, is if there's something that we do over and over, a gem is like a kind of a chat bot that we program once because we're doing the same thing over and over. So if we're maybe creating, you mentioned flashcards. So maybe we want a gem that creates flashcards and we want a certain number and we want them to function a certain way. We can build the scaffold or the background. And if we save it as a gem, then the next time we come into it, we can just say, now make the topic the water cycle, or now make the topic forests, or whatever the topic might be. And so a gem is, it's where we've built a really good prompt, and then we can use that. It's like a personalized, it's actually like a little mini AI tool that I build just for the thing that I need. And then I can ask it, I can change the topic, I can, change the thing, but it's doing specifically what I've asked for. And I can test it and tweak it till I get it just right. And then I don't have to come back and do all the prompting over and over. So that's kind of the essence of a gem. So once, if we have something, maybe we're writing absence letters out of the office, or maybe we're writing, anything that's a repetitive task. You have to plan an agenda for parent council meeting, right? Those types of things that you do over and over. You can create the gem, the information in the background, and then you say, okay, this time I need it for this date, and these people are attending, and it will run it. But because you've already trained it and you've already done the work once. On the screen here, you'll see there's some pre-built ones that kind of get you started. So if you open up any of them, it'll show you the script, it'll show you how it's made, and then you can edit those and change them.
Got it. So this gem, so we're going into that learning coach. The storybook one is kind of an interactive graphic, which I think that feels like it would be difficult for us to be able to build. Who knows, maybe not. But if we go into learning coach, so this is more of a text-based one where it's all set up. Hey, this is going to help you study any topic. So then I put in, my most recent was studying for Canadian Confederation test. But this would be an example of kind of that repetitive task. We're looking for study ideas. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what kind of gems have you created?
One of the ones that I've made for my school district is one where we have I can't even remember the word. We basically have like a case study creator. So we often use case studies in our district where, this is a case study for a school principal or a case study for a librarian. This is the thing that happens, right? And so it actually helps us build the case study so that we can use it with our audience. So tell about it. So the gem will walk me through. It'll say, what about this piece of information? What about this piece of information? And I've prompted it in the background to ask me the things that it needs to know about. So then I give it the information, and it's going to then spit it out in the end in the format that I've built it for.
Okay. I love that. So now we're just on the gem creation side. So if we were going to create a case study creator, okay, description, what does it do? But this in the instructions, that's where you would tell it, hey, you're going to have to ask me for this information, etc. Is that where?
Yes. And often the instructions in a gem can be quite long. And so if you're looking to make your first gem, what I would do is take an existing one, make a copy, and then take a look at how you could change it up so that you can see what it involves and how it's structured.
Love it. I'm going to go into that storybook one. Oh, we can't make
I think that one
storybook one.
Yeah, I think it has to, if you went to some like the writing one or some of the under show more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. If you give me math, if you give me
science, it'll say things like, don't tell me the answer. If I say I don't know, tell me the answer. Don't tell the answer. Do this instead, right? So you can see that it's quite long and detailed.
Yeah. Okay, but that's great. Like I say, I haven't explored gems too much, but that's a great place to start. Make a copy of an existing one and take a look at what goes into. And you'll notice,
Michelle, that there's things that are in like quotation marks or things that have like asterisks beside them. And I don't know this all off by memory. I kind of have a little cheat sheet when I build gems, but those things mean different things. Like
Okay.
an asterisk might be say exactly this, or right. So there are, this one's pretty complex.
Yeah.
And this is one that's built by Google's professionals, right? It's one that they've given us. So this is going to
Yep.
be like next level.
Yep. But that's good. Wonderful. Okay, well, we took a quick sneak peek at gems, and again, encourage you all, just dive in, poke around, take a look. So those are gems. There's the storybook. Okay, now into Notebook LM. If you guys want to engage in the chat to let me know, have you used Notebook LM before? That'd be amazing to let me know. If you've never seen Notebook LM before, I feel like life is about to change. Would you agree, Cami?
Absolutely. And you know what I'm going to put in the chat is actually Eric Kurtz, who is a really educational technology guru. He has just built a website that's all about creating gems and using gems. And so
yay.
It's about getting started. So I'm going to put that in as a resource. If you're digging gems and you want to make basically your own, like think about working with specific students. What I would do is I would say, okay, well, this student needs a gem to help them specifically with this. So you could build gems for students or student groups that are just, it's not the whole world of AI. It's just AI helping them do the thing that they need to do.
Love it. Perfect. I obviously need that resource too. So I'll be taking a look. Notebook LM. But you know what? I'm just going to dive us over right into Notebook LM. That way, it's just, we can take a guided tour together. So let's do this. All right. So Notebook LM. Notebook LM is where we can almost create sort of our own chatbot based on our own information, the sources that we put into it. So this is what Cami was alluding to earlier. So the examples I'm going to give you, let me go to, actually, I'll show you the Calgary Board of Education plan, and then I'm going to show you how we create these. But what this has, there we go. I have to go to that screen so you can see it all. On the left-hand side, I've told Notebook LM what sources I want it to use. And I just kept this simple, using two of the sources we saw earlier, that education plan and the calendar. If I've got my sources in there, this center box is now my chatbot that's going to search all of my sources. So if I want to search all of my sources, I can ask a question like, actually, I probably would only pick the calendar. So let's say I only want to query the calendar. I can ask, what days are fall break? And so we've got our own chatbot that's referring back to all of those sources. Now the sources, there it is, November 8th, 12th is fall break. These sources can be, I'm going to just show you the types of sources. We can upload PDFs, text files, audio files, like Word documents. But something I think a lot of people do, me included, we think, what? That's kind of all we can upload? Oh, no. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Oh, we can put in Google Drive files. We can put in website links. We can also put YouTube links. And then we can also paste text directly in there. So you've got multiple types of resources that you can put into Notebook LM. And then you can query either all of those sources at once or query them one by one or only certain resources.
Michelle, I noticed that in your pro version, you have in a single notebook, you in the pro version, you can put up to 300 documents, which is a lot.
Ooh.
In the free version that most of us have, you can add up to 50 sources.
Okay.
And even though you can add 50 sources, the more sources that you're trying to query at once, the harder it is for Notebook to work. So what sense. Typically if you only have 3 or 4 resources for it to compare, it will give you maybe a better quality of output. So that's just a little note.
Nope, that's a great note tab as well. And I am, while we're talking about it, typically when I use Notebook LM, I actually use my free personal version. And the main reason, if I wanted to share this with Cami right now, hey, Cami, we're going to collaborate on this Notebook LM in my pro account, which is my district level, or this is my work account, but your board accounts would be the same, your district accounts. I cannot share outside of my organization. And I can't share this public. Anyone on the web could have access to it. So that's one of the downsides of using your district Notebook LM. Whereas if you go to your personal free Notebook LM, I can share my notebooks with anyone. I could share it with Cami directly. I could share it. Anyone who gets the link could look at it. So that's one of the differences in the pro and free too. Okay. Some of the other things I want to show you over on this right-hand side. So the Nano Banana, I don't know if Nano Banana exists in the free version of LM. In any case, that same feature that Cami showed us earlier, where we refine our images, that's built in as well. But audio overviews. If you've heard any podcasts, I think I have a podcast here. This can generate an audio podcast for any information that you have in your sources. So for those students that maybe are struggling readers, well, we can now give them audio versions of the resources we want to give them. We're going to go ahead and listen just very shortly, short to a little bit of this. Oh, it's not playing. Maybe I didn't share my tab audio somehow. That is okay. Cami, am I right? You can't hear that, correct? Oh, and I see why.
We cannot.
Oh, it's saying, yeah, my screen audio is muted somehow. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh, your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Try sharing your screen again. All right.
Okay, well, while Michelle, it's worth Michelle going ahead and doing that. So the Nano Banana image creator that made the Muppets out of us is not available in the free version. So that is something to note. But we do have the other pieces. So Michelle's going to demonstrate the audio overview. And there's also just new in the last couple months, a video overview, has a great mind map tool. And then they've actually added, they're really gearing this toward education. There's a flashcard tool and a quizzing tool. And those are pretty neat. I'm teaching a college course for pre-service teachers, and lots of those students are using that. Probably the biggest downfall is that you can't edit the outputs the same way that you can in Gemini. So that's right. a downfall at this point. I'm assuming that that's going to continue to change.
Yes. Oh, and that's the thing. Even the sharing that we talked about before, sharing outside of your district, I know that's something that's on the roadmap. All right, let's see if we can hear this now.
Back to the deep dive. We're here to take, sometimes pretty dense documents and really boil them down to what you need to know. And today we're doing just that with the Calgary Board of Education, the CVC. We've got two key sources in front of us. The official 2025-2026
So we're not going to go through and listen, but I encourage you definitely jump into Notebook LM, run an audio overview, and you're going to see there's sometimes it's two people who are talking. They're having a conversation about it. They're getting really excited about, oh, the education plan, it's amazing. Oh, did you see? They're focusing on this. And then the other thing you can do, the audio overview does have this edit button. So if you click audio overview, it just gives you sort of the standard template. But what I like to do, I use the edit button inside the audio overview, and I usually make it more brief, or you can actually do a critique, you can do a debate, and then you can also say focus on specifically these elements of my resource rather than on everything. So you can really refine those audio overviews. And then Cami, this might be a pro feature. Do you know interactive mode? Is that in the free version?
I believe so. What you're talking about is you're going to run the video, and then you kind of put your hand up and say, just a second, I have a question. show us that. That is in the free
Okay.
version as well.
Okay, perfect.
Functional calendar that tells us when everything happens, the nuts and bolts. And then the 2024-2027 edge.
Oops. Okay, this is interactive mode. There we go. And then when I play it from here, come on, 2 hosts. What am I doing wrong, Cami?
I think it's just loading.
Okay, let's try again.
So
Interactive
what will
mode.
happen is when it will, we'll just give it a second to load, but as they're talking away, Michelle can kind of just like go in there and it'll say, oh, someone has a question. And then you can ask your question.
Yeah, so it's really like it's a radio broadcast and a guest is coming in. And then, yeah, it just adds that extra element of interactivity. We'll let you guys just try that out because we're running out of time. So video overview, that actually creates a slide deck and it does an audio and visual explanation of the information that you had in your sources. As Cami mentioned, there's mind maps. We could do reports, flashcards. I'm going to go over to one of my other notebooks that I created. So this is more Alberta grade 2 curriculum. And then I also had, what else did I have in here? That's okay. We won't dive too far in. Note, sometimes when you do use links for your sources, sometimes Notebook LM cannot read that source. And in this case, our Alberta Learn curriculum, because it's an interactive web page, Notebook LM can't read it. That being said, we could import, like we could copy, paste the information as.
Or I would suggest you can also download those curriculum. Like what I do is I've got those all those curriculums downloaded by grade, and then I put the grade in there. And so yeah, I have like a grade 2 curriculum, and I have a PDF of that big grade 2 science, a different one for math, different one for English. The other benefit to that then is that you can search just by specific subject.
Amazing. I actually couldn't find the PDFs. Cami, are they somewhere on the Learn site?
There's a printable, like on the Learn Alberta site. I'll just see if I can find it. But there's it's called a printable version. And then you save that, and that's the one that I've been using.
Awesome. I did find a grade 2 curriculum, and what you'll see is I created, so here's flashcards for grade 2. So it took the information from my grade 2 curriculum in the PDF I did find, and then it's glitching. This should be a flashcard. Usually it is a flashcard. Could be because my screen is, there it is. It's just the size of my screen. But this is interactive flashcards. We go to the next one, see the answer. There we go. So think about any information we have a PDF for right here. We can do instant flashcards. And then the other one I had in here as well, there was a quiz that we can generate. I had that generated before. And it's loading. But in any case, definitely take some time to put some information, some resources into Notebook LM.
Michelle, there used to be a page on Alberta's site that had like a link on the left-hand side that said printable resources. I'm getting an error on that, but what's happened is they've moved them into it. I think there's just so many changes. So they've moved them into a web interface that has a little printer on it. And so if you click where the printer is, that will give you options.
Good to know.
And then basically it'll give you a PDF that you can save. And instead of printing the PDF, you can upload that PDF into
your resources.
Learning Notebook LM. Woo.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. All right. If you do want to create a Notebook LM, it really is fairly straightforward. You go to notebooklm.google.com, you say create new, and then it automatically just asks you, hey, upload your resources. Let's get going. But remember, scroll down so you can see the other types of resources. play around with it. See what happens when you query a YouTube video. See what happens when you query different websites. Really, really, really cool resource. Anything else about Notebook LM, Cami, that I might have forgotten?
Well, it's just you just have to try for yourself. Again, the thing I want to stress about Notebook LM is that it is unlike AI, which goes off into the whole universe of anything that's ever been put on the internet. Notebook LM is just what you give it, and so whether that's office documents for your school office or a grade a grade 2 curriculum notebook, or I've used it for lots of our specialty courses or our options courses. It will create, I've used it lots for differentiation. It'll write summaries. I've asked it to say, here's a module, create an audio overview of this module as a starter, or for students who are struggling to read, or right. Like if I give a struggling student, a kid in Science 14, maybe, a 10-page PDF, here's the thing. He's not going to read it. She's not going to read it. And so if I can take that PDF and I can put that into an audio overview, it's not going to read it word for word, but it's going to pull out the most important parts, or even a video with images, which is even better differentiation. And so think of as far as, working with students, this is where I'm so excited about Notebook LM, because it offers us audio and video differentiation. And we didn't even, in that middle panel, you can search the source. So you can ask for a bulleted list or a summary, or tell me about, and you could say the Cold War, or tell me about how the ear works. And it's not going to go to the internet. It's going to use your textbook chapter or whatever you've uploaded. And so it'll take our materials that are geared for our course, our students, and then we can really differentiate with an audio piece or a video piece as well. So that is one of my best use cases, is creating creating differentiated materials. When I think of how long sometimes I have actually spent doing this in the past, this is one of my most exciting, hopeful parts about Notebook LM.
Totally. Absolutely. All right. The next one we're going to show, and we've only got about 8 minutes left. I am showing this. It is the pro feature of Google Vids is what I am going to be showing to you. The reason I'm showing it is not to show off like, rah, look at what I have. But I think a lot of it is we now need to be so extra critical when we're reading anything, looking at images, but now when we're getting video content. These videos are looking very realistic, yet they are AI generated. And so I just want to show you that. But then Cami, you might have a couple minutes to show some of the other features of Vids if you can. But first of all, just know standard Vids, there's some really great video creation features that Cami's going to give us a quick tour of. But the feature I'm showing you is the VO feature, where you can go in and prompt, hey, give me an 8-second video where this person is saying this, etc. And so this is an image. This was actually an image of my husband and his colleague at a conference. And he took this image and he took it into Gemini, made the guy in the front wear a Blue Jays jersey. He's a Yankees fan, by the way. But then he spun up this video, and I want to talk about a couple of the things in the video that I found kind of shocking. So let's just listen. Oh, come on. Let's try this. Let's see if I have audio now. Please. StreamYard, what are you doing to me? Yep, it killed my audio again.
So I see that it's put him in a Blue Jays shirt, which he probably wouldn't be happy about.
No, well, that too. But I've got to get the video to play, and I want to show you a couple things. Cami, how about you take 2 minutes? Are you able to share
Yeah,
your screen quick?
I think I'll pop over and see if I
Show
can get my
vids.
screen real quick while you're doing that.
But yeah, give me at least 3 more minutes. Once I get this properly loading, we wanna talk about some critical thinking that we need to do.
Okay, so here you see inside of my Google Drive. Now, this is a Google Drive account that is the free account. And is my mic on? Yeah. This is the free account. So if I click over on the left-hand side, new, vids is down here. So I can say new Google Vids. It's going to open up this panel and I can do a whole bunch of things. It's got a bunch of templates. So if you've ever used like WeVideo or iMovie, it's like that. I can convert slides and it will put it into it'll put it into, make my slide into a vid. I can record audio or video or screen capture, so I can make podcasts, I can make explainer videos, or I can just come and start with a blank vid. And then over here, you'll notice when you see into Michelle's vids, she's got a whole bunch more options. It has a bunch of templates. And so if you look on the right-hand side here, there's all sorts of templates. And this one says weekly update. If I just pop this in, inserts, this must be down there, boop. You'll notice now I have this template and I can just come in here and I can change and delete and I can change the colors, I can change the video. So it's got this template and I just pop in my piece. It's got a video. You may not be able to hear it, but it's got movie in there or music in there. And so I can take one of these templates and just put my school information or my class information. And like that, I have a really nice video. Michelle, are you ready?
Yeah, and Cami, I love that you pointed out, like, this is now just a Google Drive file. We could share this just like we share a Google
okay, here's
Doc.
the best thing. Students can collaborate. So you can share this. So 3 students before, like on iMovie, they all, like one person had to do all the work. Now, you could do that for paid in WeVideo. You could have students collaborate. But the thing about vids, free, you can have kids work together to create a video.
Yeah.
That is different.
We've got to do a whole 1 hour, 90-minute workshop just on vids. But let's go back to the AI critical thinking. Hopefully this works.
You're right. The Jays are definitely better than the Yankees. Word.
Now, I'm going to play this one more time. I want you to look at the image that it came from. So the image did have Pete wearing a Blue Jays jersey, the one that we imported into vids. But the angle was exactly the same. Look at where the tables end on the image that I brought in, and look at what's happening in the background that was totally spun by AI.
You're right. The Jays are definitely better than the Yankees. Word.
Who are those people? They look like legit people. They are doing things. They are walking. That girl even kind of looked up at the camera like, hey, what are you guys talking about? But I feel, as just even a closing message for all of us is we are in this new world of AI, and there's lots out there that's amazing. And there's everything out there that we have to really be careful and be critical thinkers about. Because, these times they are a-changing. Cami, closing thoughts from you.
80-20, be the human in the loop. AI can save us time. AI is fascinating. AI can help personalize resources for our students, but you have to be in the loop.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Again, if you haven't taken a moment, get your certificate. Let us know one thing that you learned. This certificate also helps Google recognize, oh yeah, people are attending these, people are learning AI. And that's certainly the goal of Sandy and of Google Canada. So we appreciate that. As well, I think Cami probably is also going to put one more feedback link in there. We always want to get better. If you could take a moment, let us know how we did. What do you think of this content? What would you like more of? What would you like less of besides my technical difficulties? But we certainly appreciate your feedback there. And if you need any support in anything, you can reach out to us, events@logicsacademy.com. We'll be able to help you out with, a whole lot of stuff. Hopefully, we have a big team of experts, but with that, we appreciate you all being here. Cami, appreciate you being here. Thank you for all of the extra things you always teach me. And with that, I took over MC duties. I forgot you're the MC. You're guiding this. So Cami, let you finish it
Well,
off.
you've done it all. I've got the links in the chat. Jessica, thank you for still being with us. We appreciate you keeping in touch with us in the chat. Friends, we'll put the link to this deck in one more time as well, and it'll still linger in the YouTube comments so that you can go ahead and get that. You can have all of the extra links that Michelle has there for the prompt pages and all those extra parts, so that it is worth going through this link if you have extra time or you have to do some learning in the next couple days, depending on what happens in our educational world. This whole deck is one that you can comb through again, and you'll get the link to that Google Educators course. Lots of learning in this deck if you need more.
Wonderful, wonderful. Awesome. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Cami. And we'll see you guys hopefully in another workshop soon.
Bye-bye.